Equity, as we know, is being equal. So when we're talking about menstrual, I just finished period poverty, that it is much more than donating the female hygiene product. It is about the popular support. It is about when a girl is bleeding in public or in private, she needs the support from the people around her. And that support could be in any number of ways. One is nutrition. She needs that extra egg. And this could be happening to the family just next to you. I'm talking about the middle class and the base of the maid who's working in your house, the driver who's driving. Their daughter could be needing that extra egg, the extra helping of dal, the lentils. Is it happening? It is our responsibility. Until and unless we ensure this, the period poverty will not be eradicated by simply donating female hygiene products. Next, when we're talking about is the infrastructure. When you're talking about infrastructure, the sanitation, the need to dispose soiled napkins is so severe, you cannot imagine. I am from Darjeeling. My journey from Darjeeling to Delhi was not boobity boobity, but it was menstrual moody, menstrual moody, menstrual moody. It I, as a girl and as a woman, I've faced so many numerous times of embarrassment when I needed to dispose my soiled napkins. I had friends who needed to dispose, and it was so difficult. We just couldn't dispose napkins. And sometimes, or very frequently, we would realize the moment we want to dispose a napkin, there is a man who knows it and he's kind of sledging us. It would become so difficult even for people like us, the so-called privileged, middle class privileged. So having said this about poverty, I would like to move on to equity. Equity means feeling equal. The first thing in this is I'm not even beginning to talk that we should feel equal to you the male. I want to feel equal as a woman every day of my life, every day of my month. I cannot be unequal in 7, 8, 10 days and then become equal in the rest 10 days. It cuts me. My competitive edge gets dulled. I had appeared for my civil services. I had appeared for my Air Force examination. I'm from BHU. My mother had graduated from BHU. I'm her first and only reproductive choice. My mother had graduated in 1955 and she had specialized in psychology. And believe me, she's my role model. But she never talked to me about periods. I had to learn and manage it myself. And I have this grudge. I lost her. But today, as a woman, I feel I have a grudge that yes, I needed my mother to constantly, because I was a, a period victim. And there are 7 out of 10, that's what statistics says, girls who need their mothers counseling them to feel equal, to feel up to themselves, not their brothers, not the others, but themselves, their own capability every single day, which we don't feel because we menstruate. So I'll give you one example of what happened to me. I'll not be able to speak for long. This is a story I really want to share. So I was less than 17. I was in Darjeeling, and we suddenly had this AC'd coach, the air-conditioned coach, that was connecting Darjeeling to Calcutta. It was a talk of the town. It was like, oh, this is more like air travel. Air-conditioned, and you're going to sit, you're going to be served food, and you're going to start from Darjeeling, Siliguri, and you're going to go to Calcutta. What a treat! And we couldn't believe. And then suddenly my parents were working in college professors. So my father had a departmental meeting and he was booked in this train, one of the first few to travel. And my mom said, why don't you take her along? It's going to be a good break for her. I like, wow, middle class budget and travel. But then I was to get my periods. And how am I to travel? I mean, sit and travel for 17 hours because period packs were rationed. My mother gave me a packet of Stay Free, and she never even bothered to find out whether that was sufficient. And I didn't know that I had to ask for more. And we were middle class, so I had to manage with this one packet. And I couldn't ask my friends, and it was my problem. And I had sleepless nights. And then I was thinking, and now when I look back, I said, thank God I didn't do anything stupid. And I thought, no Google, no phone, no Google, no phone, no internet, no teacher, no counselor in Darjeeling. So then what I thought was pretty intelligent, I think. There were two pharmacies, Frank Cross and the other local pharmacy. Frank Cross owner was my dad's friend, a gentleman, so he was out of the box. The other was a lady. She was a very highly qualified spinster, a master's in pharmacy who owned and ran the shop. Very Hitlerian lady. I took my chance. She never smiled ever. She must have been in her 60s and a spinster. So I took all my courage I mustered. I walked to the shop and she didn't even look at me twice. She knew me very well. I grew up in Darjeeling. And I said, ma'am, yes, I need your help, please. She said, of course. What is it? Okay, bolo dao. Tell this counter. I said, ma'am, please. And she was like, ki hoyeche? With a very, ugly tone. I said, I'm in trouble. And she looked at me, something struck. A girl, 17-year-old, in trouble. I didn't realize it. She says, yeah, so you're in trouble. I said, yeah. So she said, yes, ma'am. Kothai? I touched my tummy. And immediately I saw that interest on her face. Eyes lit up. She was so excited. She says, okay. Shh. Go to that room. Sit down. And she asked, baby ko coffee pila dena. Pani de do. Baby needs coffee, pani, everything. And I didn't realize why this treatment. So I went to the ante room and she comes in, yeah, tell me what happened. When did it happen? I said, no, it's not yet happened. She says, oh, so? But kaise? Kaun? I said, nahi, daddy. She says, okay, I'll not tell your daddy. I said, okay. And she wasn't letting me speak. I'll finish. One more minute. So then she says, how long did it happen? I said, no, it's not even started. She says, what? I said, yes, my dad's going to Calcutta and I think I'm going to get my periods. Can you give me a tablet to postpone my She says, what? You rascal? I remember being called a rascal. She walks out. She, bangs the door open because I was not pregnant and there was no scope for a scandal. And Shobana was spread, my mother Shobana. And she just throws, have this twice a day. I kind of got it and I tore it and I like, how much? Have it, ask your mother. That was my introduction to Primuluten, the generic tablet that females use. And I've told many other friends of mine to save their dare, athletes and climbers, Rina. We all did it. What I look back is, that traumatic experience led to more trauma. We kind of grew so scared. It led to a lot of psychological stress, PMS, stress, which is happening around us. So basically my concern, my need to be here, and I'm so thankful to Mansi, is that please let us work together to create, we have to all contribute to create greater menstrual equity and eradicate period poverty. It's happening all around us and the need is bigger and more urgent ever. Thank you. Thank you so much.